You might be tired right now, but not the kind that comes from a long day, not the kind sleep fixes. This tired feels deeper than your body. It lingers even after rest. It follows you into quiet moments. You can lie down for hours and still wake up heavy, not sleepy, just worn. It's the kind of tired that makes simple things feel distant, the kind that turns days into a blur, the kind that doesn't ask for attention, but takes it anyway. If you've been wondering why rest hasn't helped, if you've been telling yourself you should feel better by now, stay here for a moment. This space isn't here to push you. It's here to notice what hasn't been named yet. If this tiredness has been making you question yourself, there's something important to hear. Nothing is wrong with you. You're not broken for needing more than sleep. You're not weak for feeling worn down without a clear reason. And you're not failing at life because you can still function while feeling empty. Many people learn how to keep going while exhausted. They answer messages, they show up, they smile when needed. From the outside, everything looks fine. Inside, it feels like something is quietly draining. That doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you've been carrying more than you've been allowed to set down. Here, you don't have to justify how you feel. You don't have to explain it neatly. You're allowed to simply be tired. This kind of tired often comes from what doesn't show, from holding things together quietly, from being the steady one, from noticing what others miss and adjusting yourself around it. It comes from thinking ahead all the time, from remembering, from anticipating reactions, needs, outcomes. Even when nothing dramatic is happening, your mind might still be braced, still alert, still carrying unfinished thoughts from days that never really ended. You might not be able to point to one clear reason. That can make it feel harder to explain, harder to validate, but invisible weight is still weight. Emotional responsibility counts, unspoken expectations count, the effort of staying composed counts. And when you've been carrying these things for a long time, your system doesn't always signal it with panic or sadness. Sometimes it signals it with dullness, with heaviness, with a tiredness that feels quiet but constant. If you've been telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this worn out, that thought might be part of the load too. You're not imagining this. You're responding to accumulation. When this tiredness stays for a while, many people slip into autopilot without realizing it. You do what needs to be done. You follow routines. You get through the day. But it can feel like you're slightly behind yourself, like you're present but not fully here. Moments that used to register now pass quietly. Conversations end and you don't remember much of them. Even rest can feel mechanical. You might lie down and scroll or sit in silence without feeling restored. Not because you're doing rest wrong, but because your system doesn't feel safe enough to fully let go. This isn't numbness as a flaw, it's a response. Autopilot helps you keep moving when pausing feels complicated, when slowing down might bring up too much, when there hasn't been space to process. So your system chooses efficiency over depth, function over feeling. If you've noticed yourself living this way, it doesn't mean you're disconnected forever. It means something has been managing quietly for you. And that kind of management takes energy. One reason this tiredness lasts is because it's easy to hide. You learn which version of yourself is acceptable, the one that says I'm okay, the one that doesn't slow things down. There's often quiet pressure to be manageable, to be resilient, to not need too much. So even when you feel depleted, You minimize it. You tell yourself others have it worse. You tell yourself this isn't a real problem. That effort takes energy too. Holding it together in public, downplaying it in private, convincing yourself to push through one more day. Over time, that performance becomes habit, and the tiredness goes unacknowledged, even by you. Not because you're avoiding the truth, but because you've learned that being fine keeps things stable. There isn't always space to say, I don't feel okay, but I can't explain why. So the feeling stays internal, unwitnessed, unrested. If this tiredness has felt lonely, that makes sense. Not everything exhausting is visible. Not everything heavy gets recognized. And carrying something unseen can be more draining than carrying something obvious. Before going any further, it helps to slow this moment down. You don't need to fix anything right now. You don't need a plan. You don't need to understand all of it. There's no expectation being placed on you here. If your instinct is to listen while doing something else, that's okay. If you're just letting the words pass through, that's okay too. Nothing is being asked of your energy. You're allowed to stay exactly where you are. Tired, uncertain, still functioning, or barely. This space isn't about improvement. It's about permission. Permission to pause without explanation. Permission to exist without being productive. Permission to not know what comes next yet. If it helps, you can stay a little longer, not to arrive anywhere, just to not be alone with this feeling. There is a kind of rest that doesn't look like recovery. It doesn't feel refreshing. It doesn't make you energized. It doesn't solve anything. It's quieter than that. This kind of rest is about being allowed to be unfinished, to not be caught up, to not be okay yet. For many people, exhaustion deepens because rest has conditions. You're allowed to rest once everything is handled, once you've explained yourself, once you've earned it. But that kind of rest keeps getting postponed. A different kind of rest begins when you stop negotiating with your own limits. When you let yourself be exactly as you are without translating it into progress. This isn't about letting go of responsibility. It's about letting go of self-surveillance. You don't have to monitor how well you're resting. You don't have to measure whether it's working. You don't have to turn this moment into something useful. Sometimes the most restorative thing is being somewhere you don't have to perform awareness, where nothing is being tracked or improved. If your tiredness has felt endless, it might be because you've never been allowed to rest without becoming someone better afterward. Here, there's no version of you to reach. There's just space to stop bracing. If you've been carrying the idea that you're doing rest wrong, that you should be better at recovering by now, it's okay to set that down. You're not failing at rest. This tiredness isn't a personal shortcoming. It's not proof that you're incapable of feeling better. It's a signal that something in you has been giving for a long time without enough room to just exist. Nothing here needs to be solved tonight. Nothing needs to make sense all at once. Even listening to this doesn't have to change anything. It can simply be company. You don't need to leave this moment feeling lighter. You don't need clarity. You don't need relief on command. Sometimes the most honest form of rest is letting yourself be exactly as tired as you are without adding judgment to it. If all this space gives you is a small sense of being understood, that's enough. You can return to your life at your own pace. Still tired, maybe, but not wrong for it. And if you need somewhere quiet to come back to, this space can remain here, not as a solution, just as a place where you don't have to explain yourself.